Open up your brown book, baby. It's for you, it's for us. The fantasies, no one can judge us, no one can judge us. This is for us. Open up your brown book, baby. It's for you.
Hey y'all, hey, it's your girl Shay Baby, and welcome to the Brown Book series. I'm so happy to see you guys. Are you guys happy to see me? Yes, I'll be like, yo, when is Wednesday gonna get here so I can be able to just holler at my peeps? And I get a chance to interview like some of the best authors in the entire world. Hands down, the authors I interview are the best in the world. I don't even care. Who gonna check me, boo? What? And then the party don't stop there. This next young lady, I was tripping because I was like, this lady has to have more than one book. You just don't come out the pocket write no good ass book like this. And I don't know. I think she's trying to trick me, but we gonna find out. Ladies and gentlemen, bringing to the stage award-winning author, Miss Denny S. Bryce.
Hi there. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous. It's a happy. What day of the week is this? I don't know because I've been so busy. It just
all a blur.
Churning. It just keeps churning. But I'm glad to be here. It's fabulous. Thank you for the invite. I appreciate it.
Girl, let me tell you something. You look like your book cover over there, honey. You looking real cute, baby.
Thank you. I had to put on that makeup. I got my lights on. It's a little warm in here, but you know, once we get out here with this new model of how to do a book tour, you have to have all of the little things that make it even better. I have my little fancy microphone. As I said, all of the fabulous lighting that helps. And then from my old career, one of my old careers, you just add a little stage makeup and things work out.
Exactly. I'm looking at you. You look absolutely good. And I love your glasses.
Oh, thank you. That was a thing. I love glasses. I have to wear them, so I might as well enjoy them. So I got these just a few months ago because once the tour, the book tour, the virtual book tour got started, I said, I have to have something blingy with the glasses too. So I found these and I'm loving them. I just enjoy something a little sparkly.
Those are great. I love them. So let me just gonna put it out there. So you know, and everybody else, I'm gonna get me a pair of those, girl. They are so freaking cute.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Because I'm like, yay, I got some cute glasses. And I dye my own hair now. I mean, after a year in the house, I had to become original. So, well, I just admitted I dye my own hair. Because there were some issues happening. And I was like, where's that jar? Where's that bottle?
You letting it do what it do. I am absolutely loving that. So, Miss Bryce, can you tell us a little bit about you? Because, you know, you in my home state right now.
Yes, I'm down here in Georgia. What can I say about me? I started writing a long time ago because of my other careers. I was in public relations and marketing. I ran my own business for a while. And this particular book, my first debut novel, is historical fiction, Wild Women in the Blues. I wrote it in what they call a dual storyline. That means that I have a story taking place in 1925 and a story taking place in 2015.
Oh, wait, hold on. No. We're going to get to that later on.
Okay.
We're going to get to that later on. Right now, we want to know how you like Savannah, Georgia, girl. Like,
Savannah, I'm still, okay, when I was, before the pandemic, I am a person who travels. I love to travel. I've been in and around Savannah, Atlanta. I mean, I've been all over the US and Europe and, wherever. But I always enjoyed Savannah. So anytime I would just drive through, I'd hang out for a couple of days or what have you. So when my son moved down here and during the pandemic, I was like, I loved where I was living, but the truth of the matter was that it was awfully expensive and things changed.
He was like,
Things
first
were-
things first.
yeah, and I said, well, I don't want to give up my lifestyle because I'm selfish like that. But I said, let me maneuver to another part of the world. And it so happens I always move further south. So I went from New York, Chicago, DC, outside of DC, and now I'm in Georgia. So I love warm weather. And I think that's my island roots because my family's Jamaican and Bermudan. And I'm just like, give me heat, give me sunshine, a little place with its own pool. I'm good.
I love it. Now, were you born in Jamaica or were you born here?
No. I'm first generation on my father's side. He was born in Bermuda.
Okay.
And my mother was born in the States, but my grandmother came to this country in 1923. And her husband is from French Guiana. So they came here, brand new to the US of A from the islands. And so part of what I know about the 20s, I remember learning from my grandmother, frankly.
That's what's up though, because it's like when you hear from people who was there, who lived it, you get more of what really happened besides listening to or reading a textbook about people who,
Exactly. Especially my grandmother loved to tell tall tales. And so she had all of these photographs, and she was a big fan of keeping stuff. She had a lot of memorabilia just around the house. So I just rifle through old photos and ask questions. So she was great for sharing that kind of information about what she was doing when she was a young girl.
Research, yes.
And that was fun. And I also, one of the historical figures in the book, a woman named Alberta Hunter, I actually met her. I was doing my dance thing in New York City.
Yes, girl, we gotta talk about your dance thing, honey.
But my dance thing always included waiting on tables, because the truth of the professional dancer thing, you got to wait on tables to make it meet sometimes. Well, a place I worked at was called the Cookery in the East Village, and Alberta Hunter was making a comeback in her 80s. And I had the opportunity to meet her because my job during her stint at the nightclub that I worked at was to bring her tea before her performances. So we sort of bonded over Chicago. We were both Chicagoans at heart. Right. So yeah.
That's so cool. I heard that you were a singer as well, though.
Yeah. I have categories of entertainment industry that I tried to do. I like to say I was a bad actress. I would get on a stage and do my best. When it came to singing, I took voice lessons. I did, the usual New York. When I was in New York, you were trying to dance. You were trying to do Broadway. You were trying to dance with a company. You were trying everything.
Okay.
You wanted to get a hold of something. So what I did was try to sing. And I have a decent voice, but I'm not a singer, because with New York and stage singing, you have to belt. And I don't have a belter's, range. I'm an alto, and I'm pretty much an alto. Don't get me started about singing, because I wanted to sing. I wanted to be this great singer, but you have to come with some pipes, and I couldn't do that.
She was like, I can hold my own, but we're gonna let that.
Yeah, I can't be superstar on that one. But I was a good dancer, though. I was a good dancer and worked a lot for a number of years. No big moments, but big moments for me back then.
I love it. When I read that, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
She dancing, she's singing, she's doing all that. But you were so freaking smart though, too, because you got a few degrees, right?
I definitely went to college, graduated from college. I worked on my master's in journalism for a while. But I also started working in PR and marketing.
Yeah,
and working in PR and marketing, which is to me an extension of the stage in many ways, because you have to pitch clients or prospective clients, and you're writing press releases, and you're putting on events. And I really fell in love with the entire event aspect of PR and marketing. So I ended up starting my own event management firm.
Yeah.
And I was able to work in that industry for quite a number of years. And one of my largest clients that I still hope to work with again is an organization out of DC called the Women's Business Enterprise National Council.
That's a long name.
I know. We used to just say We Bank.
We Bank.
WNC. We had our own acronym. We had pronunciation associated with it. It's still out there and still doing a fabulous job with a great team. But that organization really offered me the opportunity as a business owner to really dig in and understand what the opportunities are for women-owned businesses. And they have made some definite strides in helping businesses just grow. Yes. And that's what you want. You want to have that opportunity to get some good insight on how to do it right. And so they were great. It was a great experience, and I want to do some more with them, but I love writing. I just have always loved writing.
Now, when did you know that you wanted to be a writer? Because even though this is your first published book, this is not your first writing stint, right? Like you.
Oh, yeah, I actually have how you hear writers talk about how many books you have under the bed.
Yes.
Those are the ones that have not seen the light of day yet. Well, I have 5 books under the bed.
Under the bed, girl. Was this one under the bed too? Or no, not yet?
No, this one always, well, what happened was that I was doing the contest circuit, as I like to call it. And I'd spent a lot of time with the romance industry and romance organizations, even though I don't write romance now. But as a part of that experience, I met a lot of romance people. And it was so exciting and helpful to enter contests where people really liked whatever portion of your book you were showing them. Right. And that actually got me my agent. I won a contest, and my agent was one of the judges, or my future agent was one of the judges for the contest. And then one of the published authors who was a judge for the contest was a woman named Julia Quinn. Her name might be familiar because she is the author of the Bridgerton books.
Yeah.
And Julia Quinn, and who's a good friend of mine today, bless her heart for supporting me in terms of doing some promotional things for me and very exciting stuff, and blurbing my book and what have you. But also my agent, still the same agent, and we met in 2015.
Oh, wow.
Now, it took, because she was looking at all of my work, and all of my work at the time, and I'll whisper this, was incomplete, but she liked my writing. And I love that. I love that she supported my work at a time when I was still pretty raw with what direction I was going with writing. And she had the patience to support me. So that ended up being a good call. And so from there, we finally got this historical fiction novel on submission. It was on submission for 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It wasn't like overnight, let me grab that baby up. And but once it was grabbed up, I feel so lucky. I'm working with Kensington Books, and my editor is Essie Soga, and she is fabulous.
She is fabulous. I am so going to interview her because I was.
You got to do it. She's wonderful, so supportive, and so insightful, and just a great editor. And so I'm going to be doing more books with them. I'm very excited about that.
Okay.
I have 3 books I'm going to be doing. The one I'm working on now, and then I have 2 more coming over the next couple of years. And
Okay,
I know. But I have another book. I have to talk about my other book real fast. I have a book coming out with William Morrow too, but that one's not due. It's going to be my first biographical historical fiction, and it's set during the Victorian age, 1900s. And it's going to be about Sarah Bonetta Forbes, or Forbes Bonetta. I always mess up her name. Sarah Forbes Bonetta. I better get that right if I'm writing about her. And she was an African princess, and I'll put this in quotes, gifted to Queen Victoria, and when she was a child. So her story will be one that I'll be writing.
You know what? This is so freaking awesome. Okay, so we're going to talk more about that too. I want to know about this whole gifting thing that she was gifting. But your latest novel, though, Wild Women in the Blues.
Yes.
When I hear that title, I don't know why I think about my grandma Lois, but
grandmas really do show the way. They can show the way.
And they show it in a way that it's like, you know what, you get it. Like, okay, you know what, I get that. It's like they make it plain and simple. So, Wild Women in the Blues. Let me just be honest. Okay. This is what we do here at Robert Series, honey.
Okay.
I was like, okay, I've never heard of Miss Bryce, but I loved your name, period. I was like, I love her name. Then I seen the girl, it was the cover for me.
Yeah, the cover is.
I was like, who is this girl I hear this time back out? I need to see this book. And so then I started reading the book and I loved it. First, I was sad because the first couple of chapters, I was like, what's gonna happen? Is she gonna go? No, they finna go see Jesus. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I was like, oh my God, don't do this while I'm reading, just wait.
Right. Right. What's happening?
Yes, do it at the end. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, oh Jesus. But then when you start reading it and it takes you back to the historical time, and I don't know, I just started picturing like the cotton clubs and the Billie Holidays, you know what I'm saying? And oh my God, I was just like, this is so freaking Bear C. Smith is like so freaking good. And you can just see it, visually see it.
Yeah.
I looking for that genius.
Well, I feel fortunate that I'm getting this fabulous reaction to the book. I'm very excited about that. In the trenches of writing the story, it was just important. I'm a theater and dance major in college. I worked on my master's in journalism, but my degree, I didn't finish my master's. I was working then, but degree is in theater and dance. So I am a lover of the entertainment industry. And the opportunity to right away, just dig into what was Chicago just has such a rich history, such a rich African-American history, from the jazz scene to the art scene to the political scene to so much going on through history. And
the food, girl, we can't forget about the food.
The food and both the food. The food in the 20s wasn't always as exciting as
that's true. My bad. I'll speak for modern time. My bad. Okay, you're right.
There was some good.
So my inner fat girl came out real quick. I tried to keep her down in the interview, but
I hear you. Well, speaking of food, one of the things that I learned through my research, that at these nightclubs in the Black Belt, as it was called, or Bronzeville, as people in the community called it, the most popular dish, late night dish, was chop suey. Most of these places had a cook, Chinese cooks.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just a little tidbit. And I was like, wow, and I don't even think chop suey is an authentic Chinese dish. It's just what was the time, that kind of food was just very popular in the nightclub scene. I was like, what is this little tidbit here?
Okay. I love that. So, why Women in the Blues? Without giving us so much of a spoiler, can you tell us about this book?
Well, as I was, sort of talking about before, it's a dual storyline. And so I have a gal named Honorée Dalcour in 1925. She's an ambitious chorus girl, striving to get ahead, trying to get things done, and, stuff keeps happening to get in the way. In 2015, I have a very a grieving young film student. He's trying desperately to get his life back on track after a personal tragedy. So he decides to get one thing done. And that one thing that he wants to get done is to finish his thesis. His thesis was on Oscar Micheaux. And so digging around in his grandmother's attic, he stumbles upon a box of items that include a reel of film, old film, in a can type of stuff, and a bunch of photos of Oscar Micheaux, Louis Armstrong, and other people with this woman. And on the back of these photos is written the name Honorée Dalcour and also a phone number. So, but not a 1925 phone number that was like Victory 724.
Yes.
This was the real deal, modern day, area code 312 type of thing. Right. So he dials the number, ends up speaking to someone at a senior living facility, and just says, "Hey, is there an Honorée Dalcour?" And they're like, "Well, yeah, but she's not going to come to the phone, blah, blah, blah." So he, on his way to Paris, because he's that kind of young man, he's going to go help his dad do something. He stops in Chicago. And while he's there, he tries to hook up with Miss Dalcour, because her name is Honorée Dalcour. And it turns out that she has some stuff going on that he becomes more and more interested in having an extensive conversation with her. But she's a little resistant. Yeah. She's, what I said the other day to someone was like, she's 110 and she's sitting there. What do I have? I'm just lying here, even though she has a strong mind and a strong voice. Her body's not there in terms of, she's not doing any laps anyplace. Right. But it's not happening like that. But what she is doing is willing to bargain. And she'll bargain for, you tell me something, I'll tell you something. Yeah. And that's her attitude. She wants, her story is her power. Yeah. And she knows it. And she's just not going to throw it out there for this young man who comes in from nowhere. And it's just the way what I was trying to accomplish, I feel I did. You did. To really blend these stories so that there are surprises and there's mystery, but there's also this, what is this relationship about on this end? What is the relationship on the other?
I love it because let me tell you, I was reading, and then I had to stop myself because I was like, Shay, because sometimes I'll be trying to like read ahead. Then I'm like, no.
What's gonna happen? I can't wait.
I'm just saying, I just really couldn't. I was just like, what? Okay. So then I was like, then I said, I'm not gonna even do the audio because I don't want to be fast forwarded. So
my goodness, there you go. That's
yeah. So I don't want. I said, Shay, no, you're gonna read it, but it was so freaking good, and me too. I was like, is this gonna be a twist to where maybe she got something and something and come from they real related? It was just, girl. I said, Miss Bryce got me over here, made me. I'm like, it was a mess. I'm telling you, I was a mess.
It was fun writing. It was fun writing. And I fell in love with dual storylines just through my reading.
And you can follow it along. Let me just say this, not to cut you off, because some people do dual storylines. And I got 3 master degrees. Okay. I'm a pretty smart chick. I'm okay. When it comes to that following, you know.
Right.
Some shit you be like, what? This don't make sense. You can't follow. You don't understand. You have to go back and reread it. But with your book, I'm telling you, it's like watching a movie. You could actually see the flashback. Okay, cool. And scene. You know what I'm saying? Like it was so easy follow and just a brilliant read. I'm like,
oh, thank you.
I'm like, she ain't this her first time writing this book. I'm like, this not her first time writing. She's not telling the truth.
Yeah, I'm telling the truth, having the first published book, but as I mentioned, I also was a very prolific fan fiction writer. Back in the day, my fandom, I had 3 fandoms, primarily Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and then I wrote Leverage, and then I wrote Being Human, the British version, not the US version. So those were my fans.
The British version?
British version is the one. I don't care what they did in the US with that show. It don't matter. But sorry, I have to be specific when it comes to Being Human.
I love it.
If you notice though, but except for Leverage, which was, sort of a not spy, but it was like criminals who were good guys, and Aldous Hodge, okay, the real reason to watch it. Okay, I just mumbled that real fast. But it's coming back, and he's going to do a few episodes, even though his Star Trek is just, whoo, I love it. But the fandoms allowed me, and I wrote a lot of fanfic, mostly Buffy, Spike, and it's paranormal, vampires, what is she called? A vampire slayer, etc.
Yeah, I used to love Angel. Oof.
Oh, that was my show. Angel was really my show.
Angel was my thing.
And I would write, but I was not a Angel Buffy, follower.
Yeah. I just liked Angel. I don't know. Yeah.
I liked Angel and Cordelia.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a relationship I could have, watched for another couple of seasons, but they had some problems, that coming out recently with some of the things that were going on behind the set.
What?
Well, I'm not going to spread rumors.
You tell me off the L. I need to know.
I'll tell you off.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that I did a lot of writing. That was my way of relaxing from a busy travel schedule with my events and just long days working with my various clients. So I'd come home, kick back, and write fanfic.
I absolutely love that. So
it was fun.
Now, when you decided to, first of all, how did you know you wanted to be a writer? Like, I know you come from, entertainment background, but being an author is something like a little different.
Well, I was always writing. I have diaries that date back to when I was, I think my youngest diary, I was probably 12. So I've always wanted to scribble stories.
Mm-hmm.
I think I wrote a book in 4th grade where I had me and my 3 best friends. We were crime fighters, sort of like Charlie's Angels at the Catholic school in East Cleveland. There's so much wrong with that story. So much wrong. But I remember that book, and I remember shedding a tear when I couldn't find it later in life. But it was all handwritten. I've always I've always been a storyteller. That's one thing, just me and my friends sitting around, I'm going to weave some sort of tale about something. And the more I got involved, from fan fiction to original fiction and hanging out at the conferences, I did a lot of work with the RWA, Romance Writers of America. I spent time when I was thinking seriously about writing romance. I, dedicated myself to getting involved with that organization. So that was interesting and fun for a while. But then I moved on because really felt my natural voice, if you will, or instinct had more to do with exploring the lives of African Americans throughout time. And so I'm just historical fiction. I'm just excited to be a writer of it. I have different stories to tell. So many stories. There's so many authors right now looking and exploring historical fiction of people of color, really having more and more opportunities to get out there and tell their stories,
Right.
being the originators of telling their stories. And I'm very excited to be a part of that.
This is so awesome. I feel like, I mean, you're not old or anything like that, but I just feel like I'm just like watching or talking to somebody who just I feel like the young man at the old folks home talking to
Anna Ray.
Talking to Anna Ray right now. Like, you're just soaking up so much knowledge. Like, it's just
that's exciting for you to say. I people say that to me in different ways, and in similar ways, because I think I've just had the opportunity to have exposure to a number of different things. And I love dissecting those things. So I spend a lot of time like sort of doing reviews of this moment in time and that moment in time and what the impact is. And one of the great things is I've had an opportunity to meet and interact with a lot of different people in different times through the decades, because I have, and I use it anytime I can. And I also love to talk.
I love it. Me too. That's why I tell people I talk for a living, so it is what it is.
There it is. Because when I was for a while, I was a media spokesperson for a corporation, and that was my job.
I saw that. I was like, she has done a lot. And you travel to different places and so overseas. Have you ever lived overseas or
No, I haven't lived, but I've spent time. My son lived in France for about 3 or 4 years. He lived in Sweden for about 3 or 4 years. He's multilingual, but he played professional basketball in Germany and in France. So that contributed to my interest in traveling abroad. But one of the things that really sent me overseas was there was a fandom event. My first one was in London for Buffy. And then a couple of years ago, another one of my favorite shows is Outlander. And I went to Rome to meet Sam Hugan, who is the actor who plays Jamie on that show. So yeah, I have obsessions.
No, but I like that though, because I like going to stuff that I love doing, or I like going to like the conferences and taking the master classes in that or whatever. Like, I think that's so hot,
Oh, it's so enjoyable because it's usually a place where people feel free to be their rooted selves.
Yes.
They really get down to the original self at conferences, because they're there for the reason that they love something so much that they're willing to dedicate time and resources to being a part of something. So I love writers. I used to go to writers' conferences when I knew I didn't have time to write a book. I didn't have the time, but I'd go to the conferences. That was my summer vacation, was to go hang out at a conference, a writer's conference. And
I love that.
It was great.
I love that. That is so freaking hot. So I have a question for you.
Okay.
RWA.
Yes.
You received, Michelle, I got it right, the RWA Golden Heart. He was the RWA Golden Heart winner.
Yes.
Girl, what is that?
Right? And I should say, what was it?
Because what was it? Yes.
They retired the Golden Heart.
They did?
Yeah, they did. The Golden Heart, they had 2 awards, and both of them have been retired, or one renamed. It's complicated, but as I said, I'm not a member of RWA. But what I know is that they had the Rita, which was for their published authors.
Yes.
And then they had the Golden Heart, which was a contest for unpublished authors. And what it really offered, in my humble opinion, was an opportunity for unpublished authors to gain some name recognition, some foothold in the industry that helped you cut through the clutter, because there's a lot of writers in the world.
Yeah.
And my marketing instincts told me, go ahead and explore the contest circuit, if you will, so that you can get a couple of things. You can get feedback. And I didn't have time to nurture a critique group or anything like that because I was working full time.
Right.
So I was able to get feedback. Now, in getting feedback, you have to discern what makes sense from what doesn't, because you're not always going to get, you don't need a lot of praise flags, but at the same time, you want to look at those comments and critiques with an eye to, well, maybe they have a point, maybe they don't, and it's okay to reject someone's comment, believe me. But it's also okay to take it to heart when it makes sense.
Yes.
You got to spend some time with it. So I was a person who wasn't going to become demoralized by a bad response to a contest entry.
Right.
And that same sort of thing, because reviews, I think everybody has a right to their opinion on a book, and a book varies from person to person.
Yes.
So, I'm very excited that there have been so many positive reviews and comments and what have you. But this book might not work for some people, and when they say so, that's their prerogative.
Their opinion, right?
Their prerogative. I have no problem with that.
It worked for me.
Hey, but it's important that I think that authors, it's probably one of the harder things about being out there as an author with public consumption right there, is that there's going to be varying opinions.
Yes.
And some authors or some writers will back away from that. And it's just part of the biz, you know. You gotta, it's like, what's the saying? Pull on your big girl panties.
Yes, girl.
Okay.
And let it be.
Let it be. It's a lot of things going on with this business that are so exciting and so extraordinary. I also am a reviewer I'm a book critic for NPR. And
I saw that too. I was like, she got so many jobs.
Girl, I'm just like this all the time.
I love it.
But it's exciting. It's exciting to have that opportunity to share my thoughts. I also have a fabulous editor that I work with at NPR, Petra Mayer. But just to have that opportunity to read so many fabulous books and share those reads with my critique of those books. I like, I don't slam books. If the book is not working for me, I probably don't review it.
Gotcha.
But on that kind of platform, I think that, you still want to share criticism about what you've read or how you feel the book overall comes together, or may have some moments that aren't quite as on point as you'd like them to be.
Exactly.
But nonetheless, that's a fabulous opportunity. I'm thrilled to have to be part of the NPR. I mean, people should read reviews anyway, because I just think they're good. New York Times has them, Washington Post, LA Times, they're all over the place. Goodreads has them.
Yeah.
It's something to embrace, is to just sit back and share with people what you think about a book you've read.
I like that too, and I like that you said that you don't slam books, because sometimes when I look at I don't like when a reviewer give it like the A, B, C, D, F mark on the book.
Yeah.
I'm like, a person put their heart and their soul inside, into this book, and that's their baby. And if it doesn't work for you, you don't have to just slam, the book. So I like that. I appreciate that you said that. Just like for me, if I can't read the book, I don't even interview the people. My manager's like, Shay, well, you need to such and such. I'm like,
and I think that it's according to the platform. I think that you're absolutely correct. That's your choice. That's your policy as to how you want to conduct what you do. Right. And when it comes to the grading system, whatever it takes, I also know that there are people who will say a bad mark that is highly publicized is just as valuable as an A+. And as a marketing gal, I'm not going to I'm not going to debate that particular thing, because I'm like, noise in the marketplace is noise in the marketplace, and and if the buzz is right, it could be helpful.
You know what? You're right about that, because one of my friends, she's a reality star, right? And I'm like, girl, they be like trashing her. She's like, I don't care what they saying my name. I'm like,
there you go.
So, I stand corrected. You're right. Right, Miss Bryce. That's what I'm talking about, girl. Because I'm up here like, y'all be trashing them people's books.
Well, don't go crazy.
Yeah, right. You're right.
Stay under control with it. But it's again, it's part of being out here in the public eye.
Yeah,
because that is what's happening. You write a book and you want attention, because attention and buzz and all of these other factors that go to what they call the marketing mix will help sell books, which is the bottom line. You want to sell books.
I do. I'm with you on that one. We're going to have to tell some. All right, Miss Bryce, that brings us to one segment here in the Brown Book series called Author's Moments. Well, we'll just ask you a few random questions, and you try to give us the best answer, the most honest answer that you can.
Okay, I can do that.
Yes, ma'am. All right, Author's Moments.
Okay.
What's your most urgent priority for the rest of the year?
To write 2 books well.
To them well.
They got to be good.
Yes, but they will be. I'm sure they will be. Okay.
It's a job.
That's what's up. All right, Author's Moments. And being a novelist, what did you learn a little too late?
Scheduling. It is important to manage your time. And really, and I'm more so talking about the writing of your books. As I mentioned, I was writing this book, Wild Women in the Blues, in 2015. Right now, I am on schedule to write 3 books in the next 18 months. So 18 months to 24 months. Let me be kinder to myself and to my contracts. And so now that I am a professional writer and am under contract, you have deadlines and commitments that you make. And so scheduling and paying attention to your process becomes critical.
Okay, I understand that. Okay, Author's Moments. If you could have tea with one fictional character, who would it be?
In my book, or just in
either in your book or in someone else's book?
Oh my gosh. Well, let me just say my book, because I could go on and on about all the other books. Oh my goodness. spend time. J.R. Ward has a series. I can spend some time with some of those people, but that's a whole other story. In my book, I really like a character named Trudy. Trudy is some Gertrude. I can't even remember her last name right now. It's so bad. But Trudy is someone that in this story, she just is interesting to me. She's very free with herself and her time and the people she wants to connect with and the type of life she is willing to lead. And I don't want to give away much because she's an interesting element in the story.
Yeah.
But I really like Trudy.
And I was like, is Trudy going to give a spinoff or something?
I mean, we don't know.
Okay. Because I was picking Miss Trudy. I was like,
Trudy might, I think about her. I honestly do think about her and a novella. And as soon as I mentioned the next 2 years of my life, but somewhere in there, we might pull out a story. I just want to know there's some things about her I would love to write about.
And because I have some things about her I would love to know. So I'm going to get together. All right.
Okay.
Author's moments. What would your pen name be?
This is my pen name.
This is your pen name?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a good pen name.
Well, let me tell you how it came about. My first name is Denise, and my parents called me Denny.
Oh.
So that is really, and both of my parents are deceased. So that is a raising of a glass to both of them. S is for my real last name. Okay. And Bryce is my father's middle name.
That is so freaking cool. Denny S. Bryce. That is a nice name.
Yeah. And it just had a rhythm and a flow, but it also had meaning.
Yes.
And so I actually, and Bryce is also it's my grandfather's name. What was his name? I don't know. These people are, sorry, I was about to be rude. They're gone. I can't remember them. I don't even know if I knew my grandfather because I was sort of like the youngest of everything.
Right.
Except for my younger brothers who are younger. But oh my gosh, Henry? Was his Henry Bryce? And I have this whole thing in Ancestry.com because I can trace my father's family back to London.
Oh.
And she was a slave and she wasn't a slave because London stopped slavery in 1834. Mm-hmm. I can't, her name was Catherine, but I'm not sure. That's as best as I could do. And then my dad had like 10 brothers and sisters. Right. So there's a reason I can't remember those people.
I understand. All right.
I got to pull up the email. It's like blah, 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 blah.
I love it. Okay. Author's moments. Let me see here. What's the one dream that you've tucked away?
Oh my goodness. Dream that I've tucked away. It has to do with me eventually living in Maui because I've been to Maui a couple of times. I know it's out of the blue. What's that about? I loved it. I loved it so much, and I would love to live there.
Okay, go, Miss Mel. Okay, all right. Author's moments. What are you amazingly good at?
Amazingly good.
We'd be like, girl, that's
a pretty good writer. I'm a pretty good writer.
You're a pretty good writer now. You look, as my grandma would say, you do all right, girl. Now you do all right.
That. I'm actually a pretty good friend. I'm a pretty good friend for those I'm friends with. Yeah, I'm a pretty good person to reach out to for stuff.
I love that. Okay, author's moments. Mm-hmm. What's one mistake you keep repeating?
No, I stopped that. No, I ain't doing that. I'm not going to give any more details, but I stopped doing that mess. No, thank you.
Okay. Next
Started.
question. We're gonna stop that one.
But we're going to stop right there.
Author's motions. I stopped it. Whatever it was, I stopped, honey.
It's no more.
Author's moments.
Mhm.
What's the last book that you couldn't put down?
Oh, easy. Chanel Cleaton's The Most Beautiful Girl in Cuba.
Oh.
It's a fabulous historical fiction based on truth and fact about a woman named Evangeline Cisneros, I'm mispronouncing the last name, who was a woman who contributed, at least from the US perspective, in the launch of the Spanish-American War. It also, the way the book is written, really gives you insight to the battle between William Randolph Hearst and Pulitzer, and then what was happening in Cuba and things like that. I frankly wrote an NPR review about it, but I love that book.
Okay, that's what's up. All right, last up, author's moments. Well, if you could sit down with your 15-year-old self, what would you tell her?
Do everything except that repeat thing. I'm going back there, and I just have to. Now, I was one of the things I remember saying to myself when I was a young person in my teens, I said, no regrets. That was like an important phrase to me, and I don't even know why or what prompted it, but I was determined to say no regrets. And I like that phrase. I'm gonna hang on to it because it helps you, or helped me, avoid second guessing myself.
That's what's up. I love that. All right, Miss Bryce, dead or alive? If you were hosting a dinner party and could invite 5 people from any era, who would it be?
From my book, Lil Hardin Armstrong is one. From any era, I'd like to talk to Sarah Forbes Bonetta, who is the subject of the book I'll be writing, my biographical fiction. I'd love to talk to her. And I would love to talk to, let me think. Bob Fosse, and he's a choreographer, and from the 50s, 60s, he wrote, he's a stylized choreographer. He's been dead for a long time, but he was the heart of jazz. A lot of folks in New York would want to study the Fosse technique and get on Broadway and be able to do stuff. So Bob Fosse, that's 3. I'm digging here. I'm digging because that's a tough question. I believe her name is Marvel Washington. She is a African-American woman who was one of the first reporters at the New Amsterdam News in the 20s and 30s, I believe. And the reason she's coming to mind is because I'll be working on a story where she's an inspiration for one of the characters. This is so hard. Okay, I got 4.
You're doing great.
Who's number 5? You know who I'd love to talk to, who, about the time she came to this country, is my grandmother. I would love to have talked to her in 1923. Just because I knew her in her 80s, 90s, but whoa, wouldn't that be interesting to talk to her at that age?
That would be very, very interesting to talk to grandma at that age. My God. This has been a wonderful interview. We got one more question before we go, but before we leave, and we say goodbye to all our fellow friends, I want you to tell everyone where they can get in contact with you, all your social media handles, where
Okay.
they can pick up this book. Man, women, listen. The book is so freaking good. I'm telling you. I mean, let me tell you, I was reading the book, and for some strange reason, I had to put on Bobby Blue Blend and start smoking a cigar. Like it just how you know
Girl,
what I'm saying?
I used to smoke cigarettes years ago. And I stopped. But I enjoy writing scenes where people smoke cigarettes.
Yes, I'm telling you, I was sitting there, I had to put my little glass of Jack, had Bobby Blue Bland was singing in the background, had my cigar, and was just all into this book. Like it was so freaking good. So tell everybody where they can pick up.
It's really kind of easy because all my handles are the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's Denny S Bryce, and that's for Instagram, Twitter. That's for my website. Denny S Bryce, all smooshed together. And that's how you'll find me on social media. Facebook, it's just my name, Denny S Bryce. So definitely give me a follow. I have a newsletter with a growing subscription base. So, and we do fun things. I just included an excerpt that was deleted from Wild Women in the Blues in the last newsletter, and also did a giveaway for some copies, signed copies of my novel.
That's what's up. And then, of course, you can go to Amazon. You can go anywhere that they're selling books to pick up.
Yes. Independent bookstores, don't ever forget about them because they also are carrying the book. Amazon, Target, Wegmans, Walmart, Barnes and Noble. It's out there. So
Wegmans, she's everywhere, y'all. I absolutely love it, Miss Bryce. And real quick, before I ask this last question, your next novel, will it be out this year or next year?
Next year. It'll be out April 26, 2022. Name of it is Blackbirds. It is also a dual storyline set in 1928 Los Angeles and in a cross-country road trip from Chicago to LA in 1968. In the summer of 1968, a very volatile time in our civil rights history.
Oh yeah, listen, April 26th. I need to talk to your publicist, your everybody, because I need to have the book release party right here. I'm asking in advance.
All right.
So tell them I'm gonna put it on my calendar. Let me know how you talk to, because I need to.
Okay, that's no problem.
I'm gonna get my cigar ready for that one. Okay.
That's the one I'm working on now. Those revisions. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, girl. Yeah, I'll get my cigar. Okay, cool. Last question.
Okay.
If you were writing a book about your life, what would the title be?
Okay. I'm just going to say what came to mind.
Yes, ma'am.
Name of the book would be All or Nothing.
All or Nothing. I like that. Oh, I love that. Miss Denny S. Bryce. Ladies and gentlemen, please give her a round of applause.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us. You are just so awesome, and I'm really, really appreciative.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate that. This is too much fun.
I love it. All right, hold tight for me, Miss Bryce. Hold 1 second.
Okay.
I'm Brown Book Series. If you love that interview, and I know you did, please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell below. Okay, y'all know how we do it. 6 o'clock, you're right here at the Brown Book Series. 7 o'clock, we mosey on over to Authors Behind the Pages with Reese Ryan. Reese does wonderful interviews over there. Like, honey, I'd be like, trying to hurry up over here so I can go over there and see what Reese talking about. So make sure you go over there and check Reese out. And after you play with Reese at 7 o'clock, at 8 o'clock, we're going to cruise on over to Cruise Radio to be with Iris Bolling for Iris moments. You know, Wednesdays is where it's at. Anything that has going on about some literary, about some books, and about some romance, and about some everything is right here on Wednesday nights. I'll see you guys next week. God bless. And please be safe.
Open up your brown book, baby. It's for you, it's for us. The fantasies, no one can judge us, no one can judge us. This is for us. Open up your brown book, baby.